الحمد لله رب العالمين بارئ الخلائق أجمعين باعث الأنبياء والمرسلين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا وحبيب قلوبنا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطاهرين وصحبه المطهرين.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
We praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for all the blessing and guidance that He has given us. And we convey our greeting to the Holy Prophet of Islam. May peace of Allah be upon him and his pure progenies and selected disciples. Samahat al-Shaykh, sisters, brothers, friends, colleagues, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I must say this, I'm delighted to see your face, Brother Rashid. I thought I'm not going to see you for another week. But yes. Thank you. قال علي عليه الصلاة والسلام ولولا حضور الحاضر وقيام الحجة بوجود الناصر وما أخذ الله على العلماء أن لا يقاروا على كبضة ظالم أو بصر مظلوم لألقيت حبلها على عاتقه. I swear by Allah who split the grain and created the soul, if it wasn't for the presence of the supporters and the army that one needs to establish justice, and then the fact that Allah has instructed the scholars and the wise and the learned to accept not to accept the violation of the despots and not to permit anyone to be violated, I would have thrown the reins of leadership on its back. And as ruling over you is worthless without justice. Tonight is the night of the 21st. Or tonight is the 20th, tomorrow night is the 21st. I began a few nights ago a program of addressing a number of issues that somehow is related, or they are related to the Nights of Power. I began with Quran and then moved to shedding light on the concept of the whole idea that one's destiny is being decided. Last night I stated that there is a misconception regarding this notion of the destiny. There seemed to be the understanding that there is nothing we can do as far as what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to do or to write for us for the whole coming year. To counter that, I supported my own reading by a number of traditions, including one from the Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq salawatullah salam alayhi, in which he makes a distinction between qadar, qada and imda, which means first is, technically speaking, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through qadar outlines, and there is another hadith from Imam Rida salawatullah salam alayhi that underlines this, that when Imam is asked what exactly is qadar, Imam says that it is the umur tulaha wa arwa, parameters, the broad parameters of the events that are going to take place for next year. And then when Imam is asked whether we can make changes, the answer is positive. But how do we make changes? That's the one that we have to focus upon. So there are avenues available during the month of Ramadan that by now we have discussed and talked about them. The concept of dua, the helping others, salat raham, giving the right of the poor and the needy, and a list of other things that we have discussed so far. What I indicated last night, that during the first approach to our destiny, the parameters will be established. If we don't do anything to change these parameters, it shifts the position and becomes slightly more permanent, part of qada. And then ultimately, if we really don't take the necessary step to change radically our life, it will be sealed and becomes absolutely perfect. And I also indicated that there are a number of ahadith about prayers that they indicate that prayers even up to before sealing can change the direction, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There is something unique about the theology in the Shia theology, the concept of bada, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has a knowledge that changes that knowledge based on what we call the factors that we produce, the laws of causality. As long as the causes that we construct, in the Aristotelian sense, we do not construct the absolute cause, that the creation of the effect becomes inevitable. We can't change. And this is something unique to the theology of Shia that from my own experience, I haven't seen anything to at least the level that Shia scholars pay attention to. So qada is the second stage. Let's divide the 3 nights into 3 parts. The first night, the 19th, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, based on what we have provided to support Allah's decision, a parameter, the general broad parameters are discussed, an outline. And those of you who remember who were here last night, and I said, if you are familiar with the teaching and so on, what do we do when we have our own students? Soon after a few months, conversation, association, dialogue, and critical analysis, we can be pretty sure as the direction of the student. We can always leave 10% for unforeseen circumstance. That spark that suddenly comes in and he or she realizes that this path is not going to lead to the A that they want, and probably they will fail. We're leaving that issue aside. By the 3rd week or the 4th week of my semester, I can be 70% sure of my students, whether they are A+ students or they will be just making it through with a C. That analysis is simile, bring it here. What we have provided during 11 months, and what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's opportunity has been provided for us during the first beginning of the month up to now, if we have not utilized anything, by the 19th, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is 90% sure that unless we expect miracle for a sudden concrete shift in our life, this is the path that we're going to go through. So the qadar comes with an outline, the parameters. This is the direction that this guy is going to go through. But there is always the possibility that that spark will come. And then you suddenly change yourself. That 10%, 15% is the space between the 19th to the 21st. We wait to see what we have done. Or Allah waits to see what we have done. If by the 21st no step is taken for a radical shift in our life, despite all and everything that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has done, you just go and read Khutbah Sha'baniyah, the sermon of Sha'baniyah, and see what the Holy Prophet is telling us. There is nothing, no other opportunity is left that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has not created for us to change. The door to heaven is open. The door to hell is closed. Shaitan is chained. Your sleep is prayer. Your silence is supplication, etc., etc., etc. Just for us to make that ultimate. Nothing helps Allah more than the abd, the true servant, going astray. And this is the essence of ahadith that we have. It pains Allah. Because remember, the beginning of our creation was based on love. If the essence is love, then there are hadith from Amir al-Mu'mineen and others that says, don't sell yourself to anyone for cheap, because you're the only person that is a true buyer of you is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Don't sell yourself to anything else or anybody else for cheap. So Laylat al-Qadr or Layal al-Qadr is a process, a gradual process. Call it a geometrical process from the first night to the third. And probably to the end of the month, because still the opportunity is open that we can change. So the misconception that exists that because quote unquote is the night of destiny, that's it, it is hacked in stone that we can't do anything about it, it's a false understanding. Every opportunity counts. That's why I said last night, let's not allow these opportunities to be missed. Now I want to move to a different topic, which again is related to the night of power, and that is the life of Amir al-Mu'mineen sallallahu alayhi wa the person that normally as part of the tradition start talking about his life, his character, his attributes and so on yesterday, last night, but I have decided to shift one night because of the important issue that I needed to discuss. Before I address that, I need to elaborate on a couple of points. Those of you who are familiar with early childhood development, you will come across literature as to the critical role that role models play in the formation of a child's character. And if you follow the literature, the volume of literature that exists, you can actually go beyond the early childhood to the adult, to the teenager, adolescence, and go move beyond to the adulthood. The roles that a role model plays in the life, in the formation of a character of an individual or a child or later on adolescence is extremely critical. A child begins to look to the atmosphere and the environment around him or her to begin to pick up those basic signs that ultimately construct the role model that they're trying to imitate and the values that they are going to use in the selection of the role model in their lives. If the family structure is devoid of the role model and the values are absent within this household, don't think that the child is going to simply throw the towel in and give up. The child will pick up these ideas and later in life is going to use them to move to a different style of role models that we as parents, we don't want. When we sit in assessment of our children and we complain that my child is doing this, you go to a child's room, instead of verses of the Holy Quran or at least picture of the parents, you see everything else that is corrupting but nothing about Islam or the faith. And then we complain, well, how on earth this happened? Where did I go wrong? All the males and the females in the films that we can imagine that I as a parent have not even heard about it, they've got them on the wall. But come and talk to them about the value system, etc., they have no understanding. So the role models in the child development is critical. You only need to read the literature which is available and see how they explain this. As they grow older, again, the values might shift, but the critical role of role model in their life is absolute. This is why the hadith from the Holy Prophet says, peace be upon him, that the first 21 years of your child's life has to be divided into 3 phases of 7. The first phase, you use playfulness to educate. Please, parents, Don't think you don't have to educate them the first 7 years and let them play. No, the Holy Prophet is talking about the methodology, the strategy for education. You use playfulness to educate. In the second 7 years is slightly more structured with discipline. The third 7 years says you as parents have to become friend of your children, because now friendship becomes the role model in which they begin to become. If you cannot become the friend, they pick it up from somewhere else. Particularly if they spend more somewhere else than they spend it with you. So the critical role is there. They search for characters, attribute, physiques. I mean, for a while it became a norm that the pictures of Arnold Schwarzenegger was all over the place in kids' room. They all loved this huge mass of six-packs and the chest as big as the door. This is the value system that they adhere to. Or Star Wars or some crazy ideas. These were the ones that they adhere to. I see still today, Star Wars finished, and I still see kids going around at the cover of their cell phones, still replicas of one character or the other of the Star Wars. What does that tell us? That they are searching for role model. And they will continue to search for role models until they are able to find one that satisfies from within. The turbulence of the early teen and adolescence is because we have not created stability in their life. So we have the role model on one side. On that second, again, this is another issue that I addressed before. I said that every society has a set of norms and values that they use to construct the judgment that they have vis-à-vis the others. In a capitalist society, they use wealth. How many cars do you have? How many big houses do you have? How much money comes in? The number of zeros in front of a figure in your bank account. These constitute who you are. How much brain do you have up here? It doesn't matter. As long as you can have the big fat checkbook to compensate for it. So this is the capitalist society. Those who are racially structured, it's the race that plays a role. And class system. In an aristocratic society, it's the class. In a racial society, it's the race. How white is the color of your skin. Let me give you an example that I have actually tested this myself. I finished my undergraduate degree at Imperial College in Mining and Petroleum Engineering. The last year of the course, at the time Imperial College had a relationship with South African mining industry during the apartheid. I applied to go as a mining engineer to South Africa and work in a diamond mine. They send De Beer, which is well-known mining company that works in gold as well as diamond. They send a representative to Imperial College to select the students that they are going to go. I went through all the tests, flying colors. Then I went to pick up my paper that I have a signature to go. They said, one is left. What is it? They said skin test. Still the penny didn't drop. I said, well, I don't have any skin disease. They said, no, you have applied for a managerial position in South Africa, in a diamond mine, in a prestigious diamond mine in South Africa. There is a requirement of the skin test to be passed. When I reflect on it now, I think it was a joke, but it wasn't. It was a serious thing. So they came up with a board. Different images of skin pigmentation was on the board, and they asked me to pull my sleeves up And this part of your sleeve, which is closest to your body, the sun doesn't get to it, is supposed to reflect the true skin of your body. And then they put this next to this border, move it up and down until the closest pigmentation is identified. The number is red. You either fail or you pass according to that number, and I failed. This is their value system. It's a racist structure that the color of your skin, particular pigmentation of your skin, defines how good you are or how bad you are.
Sir?
I am serious. Otherwise you wouldn't have seen me here, Brother Ali. I would have been working in South Africa. The sun, and everything else. So this what I failed because of the pigmentation of my skin.
You're white.
I wasn't white enough. This is a racist structure, an apartheid structure that works on race. The value of humanity depends on the pigmentation of the color or the color of your skin. It doesn't matter who you are as far as your intellect, how much you know, you've scored on top of the class, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. How much experience you have in the mining industry. Our team, my team, won the best within the university in designing an open pit mine. But we still failed. This is the value system that I'm talking about. Every society has its own value system. Islam came and radically shifted. Go back to the early Quraysh, when the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, declares that I'm the messenger of Allah. What did they say? How come you, the poor orphan of Bani Hashim, become the messenger of Allah? Why didn't the message come to two highly respected, rich individuals from Taif and Mecca? See the mindset? The story of Musa. Musa goes to Pharaoh and declares the prophecy that this is my message. Immediately says, how can you become messenger when you don't have gold and silver? Our society is moving into that direction. They look at you with the nice car that you should have, with how much money and Yves Saint Laurent that you are wearing, or Chanel 5 cologne that you are using, or etc., etc., or Gucci watch that you have in your hand that should say, or Rolex or something else. That becomes the framework by which you are somebody. But if you pull your sleeve up and you have no watch to glitter, that's it. If your bag is not Coach, it's not going to work. You have to spend $1,500 for this bag to be worth something. If your eyeglasses, the frame, is not Yves Saint Laurent or something else, you're no one. Unfortunately, this is within our own society, let alone somewhere else. If they see your house is just 1,300 square feet, come on, give me a break. This is not a house. They want you to go and borrow up to your neck and spend the money on a 6,000 square feet house that you are only using 2 rooms of it and the rest are left empty. Your car still functions, for God's sake. Because the neighbor is doing it, I have to replace it to the new one. Why? Because I feel inferior. Yesterday they changed their carpet. 6 months ago I changed my carpet. It still functions. But I have to change it, competing with somebody else. This has become the value system in our society. While Islam says, a clear declaration of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that says, Ya ayyuhan nas, inna khalaqnakum min dhakarin wa untha. وَجَعَلْنَاكُمْ شُعُوبًا وَقَبَائِلَ لِتَعَارَفُوا إِنَّ أَكْرَمَكُمْ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ أَتْقَاكُمْ. Not the big car, not the big house, not the Gucci, not the Yves Saint Laurent. How close you are to being God-centered in your life. Now, since I have mentioned this hadith in this verse, which is Hujurat 13, I have to say this. Unfortunately, when it comes to interfaith work, we are misinterpreting this verse quite often. And we interpret لِتَعَارَفُوا as just to know each other. And literally in a street parlance, the kumbaya, sit next to each other and pat each other's back. If you combine the ta'arafu with taqwa at the end, means to liberate your mind. Without the mind being liberated, you cannot become God-centric in your life. Not sit and pat each other on the back and say, yes, we know each other. In England, we used to say this, tea and a cucumber sandwich once a month. Here is cookies and coffees once a month. That's it. That becomes the essence of interfaith work that we do. First reminds all human beings, Ya ayyuhan nas, that I am changing the value, radically shifting the value system by which the society has to structure itself. I remind you all that you are the sons and daughters of one parent. That's it. خَلَقْنَاكُم مِّن ذَكَرٍ وَأُنثَىٰ. And there is a purpose in the diversity that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created. لِتَعَارَفُوا, so that you liberate your mind. Through liberation of the mind, as long as there is dogma, you will not be able to bring God into your life and become God-centric. You have questions? Look at these so-called marauding buffoons that they call themselves Muslims and walk around the Muslim world, and what are they doing? A few days ago, I lived probably most of my life in England. A few days, I'm still following the life. A few days ago, there was in the news that a family from Luton disappeared. They pretended that they were going to Umrah. And then the day before, yesterday, there was a news that they had been found in Dar'a in Syria. An interview with them clearly indicated that they have joined ISIS. And now they think of themselves as liberated. A child that up to a few weeks ago, 3 or 4 weeks ago, used to go to school and was dealing with math, science, physics, English and so on, now has a Kalashnikov in his hand and calls himself liberated. That is what I'm talking about. As long as your brain still is shackled with the dogma that you have, and you see the world in black and white, either or. Remember who was the one in 2000 or 2001 that said, if you're either with us or you're out with the enemy? And how the mess that was created out of this political philosophy that he created. This is the crisis that we have to deal with. So Quran comes and reconstructs a new value system in the midst of a society that it is egocentric, wealth-orientated, power-structured, etc., etc. So ta'arafu and atqakum. Now, based on this, to be able to find a role model for ourselves, we have to come up with al-insan al-kamil, a perfect specimen. What are the conditions that, if we put all the literature, clearly identifies the right person for us to follow? Number one, based on this, taqwa is the primary thing. That individual that is going to lead the community must be able to show that the ego is gone and God is the center. Taqwa. Number two, knowledge. Quran says, هَلْ يَسْتَوِي الَّذِينَ يَعْلَمُونَ وَالَّذِينَ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ. There is an inherent dichotomy between those that have knowledge and those that do not have knowledge. Those who have knowledge, particularly when you are associated with taqwa, dogma is not there. But you can have knowledge and still become dogmatic if taqwa is not there. You still have knowledge, but you feel that if egocentric, you are somebody. I spent 4 years, 6 years, 7 years at the university. Hallelujah, I've become the best person on earth. You look at others with a condescending gaze. Why? Because they spend 6 months less than you at the university. Or you have few extra pieces of paper as your certificates or diplomas and so on. You can be knowledgeable but still be ignorant because the mind has not been liberated. And finally, a person that is prepared to struggle to protect those who are oppressed against those who are oppressed, would fight against any structure, any political or social structure that creates a symmetrical relationship. Few people on the top that have the power, the rest of the society doesn't. فضل الله المجاهدين على القاعدين أجرا عظيما, or another verse درجة, and then there are two. فضل الله المجاهدين على القاعدين أجرا عظيما. So combine these two, we come to the Ahlul Bayt as the ideal role. That they have all of these conditions. Taqwa, what else do you want? Inshallah, tomorrow night I'll try to expand on this. But Harun Na'antara, one of the disciples, narrates the story from his father. He said, I went to see Amir al-Mu'mineen in a small village close to Kufa. And I saw him sitting in the room with a very old clothed, cold, shivering. So I said, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, you have Baytul Mal here, Baytul Mal, there is a part of it for you. And the answer is, I have brought these shirts or these qamis or whatever clothes that I have from Medina. I will still continue to use them. I would rather spend part of my share for the needy and the poor that exist in Kufa. No wonder when I think about these ahadith, you say when Imam Zaman comes, inshallah, whenever they reappears, Islam has changed radically to the point that people say this person is bringing in a new religion. Why? Because we don't function against this according to Islam. Justice is nowhere to be seen. Support of the poor, the needy is nowhere to be seen. Destitutes go unnoticed in our community. Orphans, nobody cares for them, etc., etc. And Imam says, during his time, Khalifatul Muslimin, I will take whatever is left out of my right and give it to the poor and the needy. It's better than I use. I will continue. I know you cannot do as I do, but at least work with me. Help me out with devotion and resolution. ألا وإن إمامكم قد اكتفى من دنيا بتمريض. It's just one small oral cloth. ومن طعمه بقرصين. Only 2 pieces of barley bread that he used to use his knee to break it.